topic will be shifting our company, so my company, into the product mindset gear. A bit of context first. So who am I? I said a few things earlier, just to say that I have some decent experience building software of all sorts. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been a product manager, UI designer, consultant, founder, CTO. I did quite a few different things, always around like, more towards coding or building, more towards the business side, as in creating companies or selling, but always around the product management central line. And also about the company where I work today. So Ecolot, we used to be called Blockbuster. And what we do is influencer marketing. So meaning we work with influencers on really a bunch of different channels, Instagram, blogs, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, you name it. Then we work then with clients on the other side who have campaign budgets. We have more than 500 by now. We work with most top German brands, and we have many thousands of people on board. The company itself is about 40 people, so it's a small company compared to most of you guys who work in these startups that have already many thousands of people. Our tech department is 10 people, so I have a quite small team. I work with a junior PM, a data scientist, and not anymore with a graphic designer, UI designer, and on the engineering side, I have 6 people that I work with, including the CTO. So given this context, one last warning or disclaimer, let's say, this is what works in my company. So at Ecolot, it's really practical, down to earth examples, not very generalistic. Like a lot of the things we heard and we got to talk about are really good, and it's always good to get best practices and to learn how other people are doing it. This will be more about what to do when you need to expand that circle, that bubble, to people who are not in product or not even in tech, and how to get them on board, how to work with them, how to adapt your practices, but also the company's approach to building things sometimes. All right, so first of all, why change? Like maybe there isn't a need to change. Well, in our case, we had what some people call the high-level equilibrium trap. This is a concept that explains like some big companies, organizations never have that leap, like they don't follow the market, don't stop leading the market because they reach an equilibrium. Like the classic example is China, where they never had an industrial revolution. They had the wealth, they have the stability, great scientific achievement, huge, obviously huge culture, but in the end they were leapfrogged by other cultures or other countries. And basically this comes down to having too much stability, having supply and demand very well balanced, no serious reasons to look elsewhere. And this to us meant specifically like slower growth, risk averseness, painful scaling. So we knew something needs to be done, but we also knew that people were really attached to the way they do things and the way they work today. So this basically created two mindsets in the company. So you had the customer first approach, which worked, which proved its value, and were like paying the salaries. And you would have arguments like, okay, customer is always right, ABC always be closing, better is the enemy of good. So there's always arguments. Sometimes it's just principles, but people would try to convince you that they shouldn't really change. So, but that also creates like customer is always right. Basically means that you will quite often build custom solutions. You will have like to focus on one use case instead of building generically. The ABC's part, like trying to close it at any cost, means that you would need to basically scale with people. So you cannot really deliver on time or deliver everything you promised, and you have to scale with people and so on, which works at some level, but it's not like a big or long-term strategy. And then, yeah, change is scary. And then you have the product people who, of course, they want to move fast. They don't worry if they break things. They don't always trust the customers. We have, as we just talked about, we have smart solutions and smart methods to get the right answers from people, because you cannot just believe them at face value. Like a simple interview is never just a simple interview. You have to have your methods to not bias them, to ask the right questions and so on. So there's like a really, you can see already that there's like these two mindsets, and it's, despite having a common goal, they don't really align in the way they try to go there. But yeah, obviously, should be said that of course you have the same goal. Like we all try to basically sell more to more people and have successful and happy customers. So yeah, we need to somehow align those two sides. First of all, but what you need to do there is you need the leadership support. Like you want to make sure that the business people, or more than the business people, the founders or the C-levels understand that there is a need to change, and they and you need to understand at the same time if there's a need to change, if there's a product to chase, right? Maybe the company actually has everything it needs. It works great as an agency. You don't really need to go into this product mindset. Like maybe scaling with people is fine for their business. So make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you understand the needs there. Once you do that, you want to make sure that it's gets the support from leadership, that it's a common goal, that it's understood at all levels. So specifically, what we did is we had our head of sales, our COO, everybody was on board. It was this new mindset idea was presented and raised at every possibility. Whenever there was an all hands, whenever there was some big change in the company, this was always coming up. Like always highlighting the fact that we're a product company, technology is important. We're trying to scale. We're trying to reduce the day-to-day waste on time or non-repeatable actions. So this is very important. Make sure that everybody understands and we have them on board. So practically, how do you do that? So I have some silly images. Maybe they don't make a lot of sense. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say, but they look good when I put them there. So one of the first things you can do is to identify the bad habits. Like these are like, you may call them improvement opportunities. So we all get tunnel vision. A lot of people are working on this. They may do things because they always did it like that, not because they would not tell you that they would not believe it. Like they don't want to be those guys who say like, we always did it like that and it works. They just really don't see the problem. Like the habits are so strong in them that they never challenge them. So of course they have the two obvious things. User tests, not even going to mention them. We just talked about them. I think it's really good. The second thing is shadowing. So this, do you use this shadowing method? Like, is it very common? Thumbs up, down, yeah. All right, so this is also super useful. In our case, it was really incredible because you, just by being there, you actually, it makes it even more real for the people doing it. Like some people copy paste stuff from one Excel to another, really literally like 90 times. They go row by row, look at the thing, copy it, go to the other file, paste in the right place, go back, save, and do that. And when they do it with you next to them, they would say, oh, I never realized it's so dumb. There must be a better way. So it's just really practically all these things that involve people. They really are more conscious. They're really more involved into the whole approach. So mindset already changes a little bit as soon as they realize that they have to. There is a different mindset. Another point. So you also need to gain or regain, in our case, regain trust in tech. So we were very ambitious. We also had our own investments at some point. We put a lot of money in building new products and interfaces, and it didn't deliver exactly or enough for people to have this like automatic or immediate change in the mindset. I say, yes, tech is the way to go. Let's build products and so on. So that photo, that guy, if you're in Berlin, you probably know what it is. It's branded as the best kebab in Berlin. So not a lot of people challenge it. Well, some people challenge it. But the thing is, the guy or that shop has hour-long queues still. And maybe it's not the best in Berlin. It's not the best in Berlin, I can say that, but it's still not bad. So they still get the queue, the queue, still get the press, still there's not like a huge backlash. So they delivered at some level, right? Nobody burned it down, or they were not they got to do at least something out of that promise. What I was trying to say is that you need, so first of all, even before any transparency, so share the roadmap, create an idea box, the classic stuff. It actually works. People start to believe again. Ask for feature requests. That's also very important, because when people mention it sometimes, but you don't formally go there, guys, look, we actually listen to this. This really changes a bit the setup. So get them involved in the specifications, talk to them, involve them when you roll out things. So you are not the one who creates the documentation. You just do maybe even share the story and let them build the documentation themselves, and actually push them like, okay, where is your documentation? Is it ready? We cannot release before you do the documentation. That kind of involvement, like make them actually own and be responsible for the thing. And in the delivery part, yeah, like maybe you want to focus first on things that are immediately, just like for PR reasons, you may want to, give them a bit of trust that you can actually deliver something that's useful for them. So when you tell them, okay, now instead of going to this Excel copy pasting left and right, you're going to do exactly the same thing, but you're going to do it in our interface, because now we have it in a central place, and then we're going to generate an amazing report at the end that just works, instead of again downloading and building your own charts and whatever. So whatever it is, find a thing that actually delivers and it's reachable and it has an actionable impact on an actionable result for everyone. One more. So this sounds like, again, leverage your data advantage sounds dumb because it's something you would hear on every sales presentation, but more practically what this means, like for us, very similar to the shadowing example, when we started doing this, like we at product and tech, we started doing the data warehouse, it forced us to look into our bad habits. And where do we lose a lot of interesting data points? Where do we, how do we really fully understand the data that we have? And is it really the same level of understanding in different teams and levels? Like even terminology questions are raised during that time. You realize that people in sales were calling impressions something entirely different than what the industry standard is and things like that. So obvious thing, set up a data warehouse, but even if you don't use it or your BI tools are not really there yet, just building that data warehouse is like a big cleanup process, like mental and business logic kind of cleanup process. Just do it. Like even if you do it in Excel, just to have like the structure or define it in the right way, you will ask a lot of right questions that force you to be good about your data hygiene. And yeah, ban Excel on your CRM. This is, I'm not sure how, if you've seen this, anybody else had this problem, like when people start building whole apps in Excel and you suddenly realize that your interface is not used anymore because they have this super fancy Excel or Google Sheet thing. Yeah, so it's real. Watch out for it. And when you deliver something as an alternative, make sure it's usable and like 10 times more usable than what they already have. But it's a risk. Like people will waste super valuable proprietary data just because Excel it's one arrow away to go from one cell to another instead of clicking or hitting enter. All right, so you mentioned earlier about the interviews, usability tests, and user tests. This is super true, and of course you have to do it, make sure your entire tech team is on board, but what about doing this with people outside the tech team? So people who don't even know how that works and how do you collect the data and how do you survey or interview people. Get everybody who like account managers or even sales reps, whoever talks to a client or to a customer user at any level. We have actually two big pool of users. We have the brands on one side and we have the influencers with their blogs and Instagrams and so on. So whoever talks to your clients, make sure they know how to do it in a way that not just charms them, but also gets them to collect a lot of good feedback. I actually went and talked to every one of our account managers and explained what this usability testing is, what the user interviews are, and gave them tools and at least the mindset or the approach so they can collect that data, not bias the client, not try to get always like the nod or the approval, but actually collect a lot of useful information from the people. So this was one of the most rewarding changes actually that we did. Because at the same time, it's not just like getting all the data or the insights, but also you get your colleagues closer to your domain. So they understand what you're doing, they are more willing to help you and to collaborate with you. Yeah, just to wrap up, in reality, of course, you need to have both mindsets. You cannot just stop selling or stop talking to anyone. There's, of course, a long-term objective. You want to take over the world. And yeah, as long as everybody understands that, and it's just a means to an end, it will work. Like people will get on board. And another disclaimer, let's say, if your company, if you're not a small startup like we are, so as I said, we are 10 people in the tech room or in the tech department. If you have lots of money, you got your rounds of investment, you made your decision and you did your pivot, maybe this is not a real topic for you, right? You don't need to balance that much because you have people focusing exactly on what you want, or you have multiple teams focusing on multiple things, and it's absolutely fine. If you need to find somehow a compromise, then yeah, you need to think about the practical ways of doing that. All right, so questions or anything in particular you want me to deep dive in?
Shadowing is really eye-opening, especially if you take part of their work and do it yourself. You will have so many what we call here at Offersta, why is this happening like this, and that's on one hand. On the other hand, I posted something in the chat. I don't know, maybe everyone knows about it already, but there seems to be an interesting way to scale up your user testing and do it async somehow. Yeah,
those are really good.
Yeah, we have experience with them. And it seems to be quite nice, actually. Not so bad. You compromise a little bit on the actual integrity and driving the conversation, but it helps you do, I don't know, 100 user interviews in a few days.
Yeah. I used one of them, and it was really, really good. But to me, the interesting stuff with the interesting outcome from the shadowing was what I mentioned is, of course, you learn a lot of it from it. That's why it's a good practice. But people being watched, they're very self-conscious, and they have the what the fuck moments. They never had them because they were trained to do it like that. And suddenly they realize, this is embarrassing. Like, what am I doing? This person thinks I'm an idiot, watching me doing this copy pasting thing or moving things around for no reason.
I mean, then you've had a better experience with smarter people than I've had so far.
Yeah.
So far, it was like, really? Could we really do this? Can Excel really do this? Or like, not even banning Excel. That's even rocket science.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah. Maybe it was not always so eye-opening. Yeah.
There's one more thing you talked about, the data warehouse. Absolutely, 100%. I would like to add on it. As soon as you have a self-serving BI system somewhere where people can work, it becomes really, really like much more valuable than you think. In our case, it has become the reporting setup. It's even used internally, it's used externally. Any dashboards you want to build, just build there. And a lot of things, even MVPs, were built in this, for that helped even in internal processes, in onboarding customers. Like it's really amazing what happens. And I've had other experiences where it wasn't. So
yeah. For us, it was a pain already because we needed that data. We have a full-time data analyst, a BI specialist already on board, and it was working directly on the database. There's not a lot of aggregation, no ETL, so it was a bit painful. The moment we had that, of course, everything was a lot better and people started to be more convinced about it. But then we were the guys who were like having the WTF moments, as I said, because when you force yourself to make sure you have like uniqueness in the objects and single points of truth and so on, you realize how messed up your setup can be. So again, even if you don't do an actual data warehouse, just preparing for it is a huge bonus.
I mean, any startup, the minute you think you reach product market fit, the minute you think there is anything valuable in what you're building, you should invest in your analytics, whether it's a data warehouse, whether it's a tracking system, whatever it is. As soon as possible, get it in order as soon as you can, because it would prevent a lot of problems in the future.
Yeah. For us, even one of the, I think I mentioned this actually. So one of the stupidest thing that came up was that we didn't have the same terminology in the tech department and sales.